The story of Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass goes like that. Alice, a 7.5-year-old girl, is sitting with her cat Dina and its kitten Kitty and Snowdrop in a snowy autumn evening. She is talking to the kitten about playing chess and pretends that they understand it. Then she turns to look at the image of the room in the mirror and speculates how the room in the mirror would be like if she enters it. She gets to meet the White King and the White Queen and then reads the poem Jabberwocky. She then slides into the garden and meets the flowers who talk to her. The overbearing tiger lily, the snobbish rose, chattering daisies do not make a friendly reception but lead her to the Red Queen. The Red Queen takes her to the hilltop and she gets to view the land which to her delight and surprise is laid out like a chessboard and a game is in progress. She joins and finds herself in railway carriage which is supposed to take her to the next move but is moving in the wrong direction. She meets strange people as co-passengers, a man in white paper, a goat, a beetle, a hoarse voice. They carry huge tickets and she is reprimanded by the guard for not having one. The train jumps in the air to move into the next square. Alice finds herself talking to a nut. She sees other strange insects like rocking horsefly, bread and butterfly, snapdragonfly. The nut talks to her about a place where people would lose their names, and in a blink she moves into the next square, which is such a place. She meets a fawn there who came very close to her and walks through the forest with her. But as soon as they have left the forest, it remembers that she is a human and runs away from her. She now reaches the road with two finger posts pointing in the same direction and leading to the house of Tweedledee and Tweedledum. As they discuss who is more likable character in the song, she sees the Red King snoring like a steam engine. They tell her that the king is dreaming and Alice might just be his dream, and if he wakes up, she might disappear. This is a very interesting point in the story since actually the entire sequence is a dream of Alice and the king would disappear if she wakes up. Alice tucks her dress and hair in place, then Queen offers to make her a maid for jam tomorrow and jam yesterday, but never jam today. Alice is baffled by the offer, and even more so when the Queen tells her that her memory works backwards as well as forward. She cries out for a pinprick she has not yet got, and her cry is like a steam engine whistling. Then she gets the prick and does not cry because she has already done the crying for this prick. As Alice begins to cry, she consoles her and asks her to believe impossible things. She used to believe 6 impossible things before breakfast. She finds the shop turned into a boat, and she is rowing with the sheep in a boat. Then the boat disappears, leaving her in the shop where 2 eggs are sold cheaper than one if she eats both. The shop disappears when she moves into it, and she finds herself with the eggs she wanted. Only the egg has grown huge and has turned into Humpty Dumpty. The White Knight, who also keeps falling from his horse on his head, he challenges the Red Knight. They have a duel of a strange kind in which both constantly fall from the horses on their heads and begin again unhurt till the White Knight declares a check and the Red Knight leaves. The White Knight is discovered to be an inventor of strange things, and seems to hoard even stranger things in the bags like beehives and mouse traps. He sings a song for Alice and takes her to the last square where she becomes the queen. She discovers that she has a golden crown on her head. She meets the two queens who go up to sleep while talking with her. She then enters a room where there is a celebration of her becoming the queen going on. The rule of the celebration is that you are introduced to every dish and you do not cut what you are introduced to. So Alice is left without any food. Suddenly, she discovers that all the guests have turned to dishes and the entire cutlery and the crockery is beginning to occupy places on the table. She shakes the Red Queen and discovers that she is sitting in her room and shaking up her kitten, that is Kitty, and continues talking to the cat. That is the story in brief. The author Lewis Carroll was born on January 27, 1832, as Charles Ludwig Dodson, the third child and the eldest son of 11 children of Reverend Charles Dodson and Frances Jane Ludwig. As a child, he used to stammer a lot. That made him a loner. He had fascination with puzzles and anagrams. He spent his childhood in taking care of his 7 little sisters. So he had fascination for little girls not above 12 years of age. Later he became a professor of mathematics at Christ Church College, Oxford. His early poems Fairy, A Tale of a Tale suggest his different types of thinking. He was also one of the best photographers of Victorian England. He invented nictograph, a device for writing in the dark, as well as a method of remote control self-photography. He was inclined to escape two worlds, adults and the reality. The most famous of the little girls he loved was Alice Pleasance Lidwell. He first met her in 1865 as the 4-year daughter of the Dean of Christ Church College, Oxford. Once he took her to a picnic on Isis River and began to tell her stories of the underground adventures of Alice. He completed the first book in 1863 and it had 35,000 words and it appeared in 1865. And in 1868 he began to write the second book, Through the Looking Glass, and completed it in 1871. Carroll combined the elements of fantasy and rebellion in the second book, and in the last, which dreamed it. Now it indicates that one may be forced to play unpalatable roles by others. He always had the fear of growing old. The Red Queen is the essence of all powers in Victorian England that Carroll satirizes. Tweedledum and Tweedledee epitomize the contradiction, the fratricide maybe. At the end, there is a sense that Alice is helplessly driven on towards the end of the tale. There is a sense that Alice is driven towards adulthood